solve each equation, then verify. So right now, we have a quadratic equation because it has an x squared. It's equal to 0, but you're adding and subtracting. To use the zero product property, we would need to factor this so that it's equal to 0. What times what is x squared? X and x. What times what is 56? 8 times 7. Does the outside and inside make 1? If it's plus 8 and minus 7, it does. Again, every time you factor, you should quickly multiply everything out to make sure that that matches what you started with. But what we've done right now in this equation is we've changed it from adding and subtracting to equal 0 to multiplying to equal 0. So something times something equals 0. One of these has to be 0. If the first one is 0, what's x? Negative 8. If the second one is 0, what's x? 7. We'll just verify this with mental math. Negative 8 squared, 64. Minus 8, 56. Minus 56, 0. That one works. What's 7 squared? 49 plus 7, 56. Minus 56, 0. They both work. I'm going to tell you right now, if you have a quadratic equation and you factor to solve it, both answers will always work. Remember when we had extraneous roots in the last unit? There are no extraneous roots with quadratic equations. So I'm not even going to get you to do this because of that information. You just have to solve. In all of them, unless you get a square root. As soon as you get a square root, you're going to have to verify. Square roots have extraneous roots, so that's why we have to verify them. Part B. Can you see that the left side is already factored? Well, what's the right side equal to? 22. Is there only one way to get 22? No. 2 times 11, 1 times 22, 22 573rds times 573. You know, there's lots of ways to get 22. Especially if you're allowed to use decimals and fractions. So this, right now, doesn't help us. It is only helpful to solve a quadratic equation if you have one side equal to 0 and you factored. So what we need to do here is we're going to FOIL out this side, 3x squared. Outside is minus 18 plus 1, minus 17x. Minus 6 equals 22. Bring the 22 over to this side. And now it's equal to 0. And now we have to factor. To get 3x squared, it has to be 3x and x. Mental math, two numbers that multiply to 28 so that your outside and inside make 17. Seven and 4? Where you want to put the 7? 7 so it's on the inside or 7 so it's on the outside? 7 on the outside? That makes my outside 21, my inside 4. Does 21 and 4 ever make 17? Yes. We would need, to get negative 17, we would need negative 21 plus 4. And now it's equal to 0. I'll do one, you do one. I'll pick the right. X is 7. Good, your turn. Why did I pick that one? That one was easier? Oh, man. What are you going to do for the other one? Sometimes, if you want it to equal 0, you might actually make a mini equation and say, if this is equal to 0, could I solve for x? What would you have to do? Move the 4 over, and then what would you do? Divide by 3. You can show that work if you want. Eventually, you'll see this and be able to do that work in your head and just say, x is negative 4/3. Try doing it in your head right now. Could you do that in your head if that was equal to 0? Could you move the 4 over and divide by 3 at the same time without having to write that all down? Not right now. In time, then. So now we've solved this equation works when x is 7. And if you were guessing and checking here, look back at the original question. If you were guessing and checking, I think some of you might have eventually got 7, because this makes this 22 times 1, which is 7. But if you were guessing and checking, I think it would take you a very long time to come up with negative 4/3 as one that you should try. First of all, it's a negative number, and you always guess and check positive numbers first. And it's a fraction, and you almost never guess and check fractions. Okay, questions for practice. 4, 5, 6, and 7.